What's up, my derps? It's your boy Gregolis, and on today's episode of Cast Guidance, we're going to talk about how to use character alignment in your session. All right, go ahead and add a D4 to your ability check, and let's get better at D&D together. Before we begin, don't forget, roll to hit that subscribe button and add an extra attack to the notification bell so you don't miss any awesome content. Character alignment is something that enters the discussion during the original character creation process, but doesn't have to end there. Understanding the differences in alignments and how you use them may change with the progression of your campaign, and sometimes those make for the best story. I suppose we have to take this back to what exactly is the character alignment chart. Everybody turn to page 122 in the player's handbook and let's read it together. A typical creature in the worlds of Dungeons & Dragons has an alignment, which broadly describes its moral and personal attitudes. Alignment is a combination of two factors. One identifies morality, good, evil, or neutral, and the other describes attitudes towards society and order, lawful, chaotic, or neutral. Thus, 9 distinct alignments define the possible combination. The alignments are listed as such: lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good, lawful neutral, neutral, chaotic neutral, lawful evil, neutral evil, chaotic evil. As stated previously, you first identify your character's attitude towards the world. Are you an upright citizen who always follows the rules? Lawful. Or do you always do whatever you please and put your needs first? Chaotic. Or are you somewhere in between? Neutral. After you've decided your outlook on society, then you get to determine whether you're a good, bad, or average person. Basically, you decide where you want to be in the grayscale that is alignment. There's no black and white here, and that's where the fun lay. I have no basis in statistical truth behind the following statement, but in my experience, most people who play the game, and in life as a whole, tend to fall into the neutral areas. It provides the most flexibility and allows a lot of morally gray things to occur without too much pushback from other players. I mean, think about it. You're going into a game where you're most definitely going to be murdering other creatures, mostly provoked, but sometimes not, and more often than not, there's some sort of looting, stealing, lying, deceiving, persuading, intimidating, or all types of behaviors that be deemed very questionable in reality. Sometimes your alignment is tied to pivotal events in your backstory, or other times it makes sense to your overall goal in the game. You can also choose an alignment out of pure spite for the rest of the team. It's completely up to you and your table. Here are 5 ways to use your character alignment in your tabletop session. Tip 1. Personality quiz. Much like every BuzzFeed quiz you've ever taken to determine if you're Team Jacob or Team Edward, too old? Okay. Much like every BuzzFeed quiz you've taken to determine if you're Slytherin or Ruffalo, I literally know nothing. The character alignment system is meant to determine a lot of your character's personality. That's really broad brushstrokes for what's essentially a masterful way of thinking about your character as a complex and nuanced individual. Character alignment is a way of ensuring that you're staying within the realm of what your character would do. This becomes murky waters when people use things as a crutch and really don't dive into those intricacies of what make us who we are. But the alignment chart is a great foundation for determining who your character was, is, and will continue to be. Think of your character as having 2 factors that determine your personality. And let's break them down further in Tip 2. Tip 2. Funneling. Funneling to me just sort of means that you have 2 channels to rely on to determine the outcome of your character's decision. What's that mean? Well, look at it like this. The overarching determination of how your character behaves is determined by their moral alignment. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they neutral? That's the easy part, and you'll most likely filter your decisions through this main funnel. A simple example how that works is, what would you do if you were asked to murder somebody in cold blood? If you're good, it's a no for you, dog. If you're evil, it's a sure thing, boss. And if you're neutral, it's probably going to be more about what you get in return. Great. Simple. I like simple things. Now, the second funnel or filter that you face is to determine within that decision how your character is going to play it out. So you've been tasked with murdering someone in cold blood, the age-old assassination request. Cool. Now, are you lawful? Does this fall within the realm of your character's oath to uphold the law, or is there legal precedence for this request? Should you actually be arresting the person making the request? These are the type of moral questions your character should be asking. Let's look at it from the chaotic perspective. Do you care if this person lives or dies? Does it affect you? Last time you were tasked with an assassination attempt, you didn't want to do it, but now you do. If you're chaotic good, you might be considering doing the unexpected. If you're chaotic evil, you probably just don't give up about all the rules, the good old F the police and all that. If you're chaotic neutral, you're probably leading towards your own selfish goals regardless of the outcome. Then there's neutral. Neutral really just means you do and think about each situation differently and consider what's the best outcome for you and possibly your team. You're driven by the present and generally have a short-term outlook on all of the consequences. I know it seems kind of complicated, but if you begin looking at the world around you, you may start to realize that these alignments can be readily identified amongst your peers. So tip 3 is more of a challenge. Let's take a look. Tip 3, identify alignment. Now that we've covered the basics of what alignment is, let's look at real-world applications of it. Spend time identifying the decisions that you, your family, or friends around you make and slot them into particular alignment. I think most of you find the outcome of this exercise a bit murky because alignment is murky. We each make decisions in our day-to-day lives that may seem out of character or float between alignments, and that's okay. Get familiar with how that works. Me personally, I try to play all of my characters somewhere between chaotic neutral and neutral good. Sometimes I'm selfish, but most of the time I'm trying to do what I think is best for the group around me. And that's characteristic of who I am in real life as well as at the table. So it makes it easier to play. It's okay to float between alignments, but it's not okay to step across major lines. Let's discuss further in tip 4. Tip 4, stay in your lane. It's not uncommon for DMs to have harsh punishments or offline discussions with players regarding their characters' decisions. Sometimes we as players step way out of line and overstep the boundaries of our designated alignment. And it can be intentional, but I think more often than not, it's unintentional. For example, maybe you've decided to play a lawful good paladin who swore an oath to uphold all that is righteous. Great. So why'd you accept that assassination request from that guy that wanted us to murder his wife so he could live with his mistress? Be aware of the decisions you and your group make. Any good DM will know how to make those decisions come back to haunt you in the future. That being said, it's also okay to change your alignment. In tip 5, we'll dive into how to do just that. Tip 5, alignment changes. When I say you could change your alignment, I think it hinges both on how big of a leap you want to make and how open your DM and table are to it. Makes for a great story if you start off as maybe a neutral evil and kind of begin creeping into neutral and neutral good over time. The redemption story never gets old, and it can be rewarding to roleplay those scenarios to watch the character's growth. In fact, it's something we're doing with Wawatessi on the D&D show. She's been growing as a humanoid within the context of our experience, and her decisions are shifting as she grows. That being said, maybe jumping from chaotic evil to lawful good is a bit of a stretch. In my personal opinion, it's time to roll a new character. But that's dependent on a discussion with your DM and group. The great thing about this game is that you're never locked into any one thing. You can always grow, and I'm a strong proponent of using all growth as roleplay opportunities. Use the story to change anything you want about your character. It makes for deeper connections and better campaigns. So alignment can seem gray at times, but I hope I brought some light to the black and white of it. Let's quickly recap the top 5 tips on how to use character alignment in your session. Personality quiz. Find out if you're team good or team bad or somewhere in between. Funneling or filtering your decisions through 2 lanes. Identify alignment by watching others' decisions around you. Stay in your lane or else face the consequences. Alignment changes are really cool story arcs, so use them. Keep coming up with your ideas on how to be better at the table. This is something we're going to grow together. Feel free to message me directly at Gregolis Designs on all platforms or leave a comment below and I'll do my best to respond. As always, don't forget, D&D isn't a game you win. Let's cast guidance on each of our tables to enhance each other's experiences. Thanks, Derps. See you next week with more from me, your boy Gregolis. Hey Derps, thanks for watching. We're trying really hard to build this channel up, so if you could give us a subscribe, that would be really helpful and appreciated. This community matters to us, and we want to hear your voice. Let us know what you liked or didn't like, and let's chat in the comments. Also, don't forget to check me out playing D&D on the D&D show every other Sunday. The link should be somewhere over here, or here, or here. Thanks!